go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews, connections in mind. Transformers 1 is the latest film in the Transformers franchise, not to be confused with the old Transformers 1 from 2007, the live-action one, whereas this film is animated, is directed by Josh Cooley, and stars a voice cast including Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Lawrence Fishburne, and Steve Buscemi, among many others. And this film focuses on the prequel story. Before, they were Optimus Prime and Megatron. They were Orion Pax and D-16, a couple of mining bots on a town in Cybertron who they cannot transform, but they're best of friends. And when they're thrust into an unusual situation where they find themselves on a quest to find the matrix of leadership, they find themselves on a path to their ultimate destinies. Now, this review will contain spoilers of Transformers 1 as well as certain other films. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first and foremost, however. Just so you know, there will be some spoilers later on this review. So, first things first, let's get into some spoiler-free talk on Transformers 1. Is it a good movie? Is it a good theater experience? And more importantly, being this kind of anime film, is this good for equally both for adults and kids? I would say this is definitely a decent film, and if you are a fan of Transformers of any age, there's going to be something that you're going to enjoy here. However, I feel like this film was probably being aimed more towards the younger demographic, and it plays more to that. And so while I still stand by that there's definitely some stuff in here that you fans of Transformers of any age will enjoy. It's more towards the kids' side of things, which is not a bad thing by any means, because there's some great character interaction between Orion Pax and D-16, the future Optimus and Megatron, with special praise going to Chris Hemsworth, who voices Orion Pax, who he has said that he would not do an impression of Peter Weller, who is or the voice of Optimus Prime for so many years, and but even him just doing his own thing, I buy him being Optimus. So I think if this could be said as an audition for future Optimus, Transformers franchise possibilities with him as the voice of Optimus, I would say he did a pretty good job in that role. Likewise, I would think I'm sure there's plenty of people who played up the fact that, oh man, you got Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson in this movie, and there's definitely some scenes where Scarlett Johansson's character named Evita 1. She, gets the upper hand on Orion Pax. It's like, oh man, Scarlet Widow's now beating up Thor here. It's like, there's definitely some fodder for that sort of thing. But for the casual moviegoer, I think there's a lot of fun, and the animation itself is actually pretty top notch, I'd say. I mean, it did not look cheap by any means. There's some great, some fun action sequences to be had here. There's a interesting. I think the pacing is pretty crisp, although it tries to set up a fourth act sort of thing, but we all know what's coming sort of thing. So that I don't think that works quite as well. But overall, story-wise, pacing-wise, it does pretty well. Where I think the movie falls flat, I think, is really in the supporting characters. I mean, there's some characters that you get some screen time, and you get B-126 in here, and his antics. I think you're either going to love him or you're going to get very annoyed with him very quickly. I tolerated him, but he was definitely pretty annoying by his end. Steve Buscemi voices Starscream this time, and that choice it's interesting, but I think this it falls into the trap of any character voiced by Steve Buscemi that he just sounds like Steve Buscemi doing Steve Buscemi, not doing Starscream. I think a lot of the time during this performance, so I think that's where it falls flat a little bit. And like I said, the humor it's going to be aiming more towards kids at this point, and aside from some fun, cheeky little references to previous Transformers things, say great reference right in the early on in the movie. I'm sure it'll fly right over kids' heads. But if anyone who grew up in the original Transformers in the '80s recognizes a lot the line that you have the touch, you have the power. That's that's a fun little line for the audience there. But overall, I would say storyline it follows a lot of the standard hero discovering themselves beat. How we all know that Optimus and Megatron are going to become enemies, so the journey on how they're going to reach there is somewhat interesting, but ultimately, I don't think it's gripping enough to hold, of anyone other than a young kid who hasn't seen that trope used a whole bunch of times going through that route. So I would say mainly this is a movie for younger kids, but if you're an adult, if your kids dragged you to this, I think there's going to be something to enjoy here. Rewatchability, again, more towards kids than adults, but overall, I think this was an enjoyable time. If you're a Transformers film fan, there's going to be something for everyone to enjoy here. So if I was going to give Transformers 1 a letter grade, I would say this is a B, flat B on that front. Not the best, definitely not the worst, somewhat better than average. Overall, good time. So those are my main spoiler-free thoughts on Transformers 1. Now let's get into some spoiler talk at certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. So this whole plot of Orion Pax and D16 going on this quest to find the Matrix of Leadership and then becoming heroes in their own right, heroes and or villains. And this just, so I'm a Bionicle fan. Lego Bionicle. I grew up with the original first run Bionicles and the comics as well. And, I really enjoyed those. And then when we got to Bionicle's first movie, Bionicle the Mask of Light, I was really excited for that movie. I didn't see it in theaters. I think I saw it on rented it from Blockbuster at some point, got from the library after the fact. But I was so disappointed in that movie because the animation was atrocious. The characters did not act like they in the comics, and it was horrendous. And maybe that experience kind of tainted me somewhat to Transformers 1 because I saw a lot of the similar vein of the commoners, the less than heroes go on the quest to become heroes themselves, getting the artifact that powers them up to become the heroes. That made me think, very much of Mask of Light. And while this movie is much better done than the first Bionicle movie, I think, that parallel did kind of taint it a little bit, at least in my perspective. And then also, the character of Sentinel of Crime, again, if you've seen any kind of movie, you would have pegged that he was, betraying them immediately. And then the reveal later comes as no surprise whatsoever to you. And to me, this trope, we've seen it a whole bunch of times. And, this combined with the populace kind of learning about their treachery later, it makes me think a couple of different things. Sentinel kind of made me think of sort of a Grandmaster role from Thor Ragnarok, sort of. A little bit of King Magnifico from Disney's Wish, and also Dr. Merrick from the Island, which coincidentally also starred Scarlett Johansson. You got two tropes, Thor Ragnarok had Chris Hemsworth. The Island had Scarlett Johansson. You know, you've got they're making a way around here in Hollywood. So and also. You know, speaking of Thor, there was that fun little reference. You know, I would be shocked if this wasn't intentional. When Optimus is swinging his virtual axe around to deflect the bullets, it's like you're obviously channeling Mjolnir with that. You know, the Thor reference going on there. But like I said, these references. We've seen them a whole bunch of times, and I always say, like, just because you've seen a trope a whole bunch of times doesn't make it automatically bad. It's how you use those tropes in your own unique way that can make or break your movie. These didn't break the movie per se, but I would say they probably didn't elevate it to anything spectacular. That's why I gave it a B rating. It's better than average, but it's not going to be anything special beyond that. That's probably about the highest rating I would go with these kind of tropes working towards it. So those are my main points of comparison with this movie. I'm sure there's some that I missed. What did you think of Transformers 1? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which I believe, if the schedule holds, will be for Joker Folie à Deux, which comes out October 4th. And also, we're in the final couple weeks of Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2. So once that's done, I'll be giving my spoiler-filled full season review of that. And so be sure to look out for those. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially a subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.